Leave me alone, will ya? This is the good part. I heard that someone took Karen. Little Miss Perfect gonna get famous. Gonna get a picture on a milk carton. Yeah, well, I heard that Karen was gone. So I went over to Miss Fitzgerald's house and asked if I could play with Karen. Her mom just stood there, in the doorway, and cried and cried. And I just stood there, wondering how long it would take for her to stop. But she didn't. So I went inside and watched TV, 'cause they've got color, 'cause Edna has money, 'cause she runs the diner and all. And I sensed she was feeling vulnerable. So I asked her to fix me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And she did. Then I went into Karen's bedroom and looked around for stuff I could take, while Edna was in the bathroom with the water running. But all that there was girl stuff. So I came home. But it was fun while it lasted. I even had her trim the crust off for me. And then I ate it anyway. She was crying so hard. I could have peeked into her dress if I wanted to. But hey, when a broad's got puffy eyes and a runny nose, who wants a peek at that? Good. Finally.
Hello, dear. How are you today? By the way, I spoke with Mr. Johnson and he's livid. Seems someone scratched up his priceless tucker. If he finds out who, there'll be heck to pay. Edna's daughter Karen has disappeared. Karen was playing outside as Edna closed the diner, and that's the last anyone saw of her. I haven't the foggiest idea. All I know is she went missing last night. But Steve, this isn't something you want to be concerned with. Trust me. You should be concentrating on joining the lodge, not some missing girl.
Isn't a lost child everyone's concern?
Then let everyone worry about it. This is nothing but a waste of time for you. If you spend your time in Harvest looking for Karen, you'll regret it.
My time in Harvest? You talk like I'm a visitor, Mom.
Don't be silly, dear. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Hey, Steve, you've been doing a swell job putting the paper out in the morning. You just keep doing that and we won't have any problems. That's not much to ask, is it?
I can't stop and chat, Steve. With Karen gone, if I stop, I think I'll lose my mind. I've got to keep busy. Excuse me. I just heard that Mr. Johnson's tucker was vandalized. You know, though I don't like to think ill of people or take pleasure in the misfortunes of others, I'd like to think it's a comeuppance for all the times that nasty man has bothered me. Sorry, I missed that. Too noisy in here.
Halt! Who goes there?
They tell me my name is Steve.
All right. This is Section 21. Keep your distance, son. I wouldn't want to have to blow your head off.
That makes two of us.
So you're the amnesiac, huh? Just another draft-dodging ploy the way I see it. But at least you're not an alien. You see their ships every now and then. Sometimes swell bags one in the woods.
Who are you?
Colonel Buster Monroe, commander of the Harvest Nuclear Missile Installation, keeping America safe from those who would dye our flag red, white, and pink.
These are nuclear missiles?
Goddamn right they are. Every one of them ready to rain death on the Ruskies. All I gotta do is hit the button and blammo! The price of vodka goes through the roof. Along with the vodka.
Well, I suppose you have, you know, safeguards against accidents?
Safeguards? Don't be such a weak sister. There are no safeguards. This is the 50s. Then
you have sole control of the, missiles.
That's right. Been in charge here since WW2, when I got my lower torso shot off in the war. Those pantywaists in Washington wanted to stick me behind a desk. To hell with that. They owed me. I left my legs in Dusseldorf. They owed me. Of course, they felt that after the trauma of having to crawl from Germany to England trailing my intestines behind me, I was too emotionally unstable to continue in the military. That's why they gave me this nice cushy job and put me in charge of the nuclear missiles. Why are you asking about the button, son?
I'm just a little nervous about it. I mean, suppose an accident happens.
Don't get your panties in a bunch, mister. The button is perfectly safe. I keep it on my person all the time. No commie bastard is getting his mitts on this button. No siree, Bob. No one initiates a nuclear holocaust in Harvest except me. Now, doesn't that make you feel better? Son, when you've had your buddy shot in half, you know a thing or two about fear. You learn that when something actually happens, it's never as bad as you imagine it would be. Oh, sure, I can't write my name in the snow. I had to shell out a few simoleons for portable IV drips, colostomy bags, and so on. The pain is hardly what I'd call constant. I have my good days when I pass out completely. We're never asked to endure more than we're capable of handling, mister. Folks would die in a nuclear holocaust, but nobody would die who wasn't going to die anyway, sooner or later. And the rest of us? Why, we'd take a little R&R at the old radiation bunker, climb out in 2 weeks, and go back to work, refreshed and ready to contribute as productive members of society again. Makes me wonder why I don't just push the button and take me a nice vacation. Can you give me any reason why I shouldn't? You're right, soldier. I'm sorry. Sometimes the intense pain clouds my mind. The kookaburras start whispering to me about the pretty mangoes in the high trees, and I know they can see me. They see all of us. Can't you hear them? Chattering with the llamas behind our backs? They want our cornflakes, but they won't take the milk! Have you lost your mind? You think you can toy with me just because I have no lower torso, you damn kid, you? Or maybe you're one of those commie bastards. Frankly, all these questions are making me a little suspicious of you. Maybe you're one of those pink-blooded Americans. Can you give me any reason why I shouldn't shoot you right now? I appreciate your honesty, comrade.
Thank God I found you. Are you alright, Karen?
I want to go home. Could you take me to my mommy's store? Or to the policeman?
Can you tell me who did this to you?
Mr. Potsdam told me he'd hurt my mommy if I told.
I won't do anything, I promise. Tell me what happened.
He made me play house. Then he dug a hole. Please, I just want to go home now. Please.
Can you tell me your address, honey?
I don't know. Just take me to the store or the policeman. Please. Mommy said to go to the policeman if I got lost. And I'm lost. Bye-bye.
Oh my God. Karen! Thank God. What happened?
Found her in the graveyard. She was buried alive. And she claims Mr. Potsdam was responsible.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you from both of us. Here's the reward money. Take it and go. I need to be alone with my baby right now.
Did you say hello to your father for me? Thank God for that, at least. I could use some good news right now. I just got the word. The order turned down my latest application. Looks like we'll be having the wedding at Moynihan's after all. Yeah, I know what that crazy little bitch said, but it's not true. I was at home that night. Mrs. Potsdam will vouch for me. Isn't that right, Mrs. Potsdam?
That's right, Mr. Potsdam. Hello, Steve. Care to stay for some pot roast?
Forget the pot roast, Mother. Pot roast isn't for backstabbers, for persecutors. I won't share my meat with him. My meat! My meat!
It's the truth. That's why. And I think you better be going, young man, before I call your mother and tell on you.
Someone went and scraped up Johnson's car? Can you imagine? He'd step in a bear trap and chew his own leg off rather than suffer a scratched tucker. Serves the rich bastard right, if you ask me.
Steve, I'm so glad you came back. What have you been doing?
I visited the lodge. Talked to the sergeant-at-arms there. He knows that there's something out of whack here. He told me if I wanted to find out what it is, I should join the lodge. I've decided to join the lodge, Stephanie. I think the answer to all our questions is inside.
That place. It's so sinister. You may be playing right into their hands. Did you think of that? Doesn't it seem like you're being herded toward the lodge?
That's one of the things I hope to find out.
I hope finding out doesn't get you killed. My faux mother keeps me up on the latest gossip. Not like she really wants to talk to me. More like she's feeding me information. For instance, she told me that Mr. Johnson's Tucker was vandalized. That's another weird thing. Every car I've seen drive by is a Tucker. There were only 31 produced. What are the odds of that?
I've always wanted a Tucker. Funny that Harvest would be full of them.
Any idea who scratched the car? Why would you do something like that?
It's part of the lodge initiation.
I see.
Look, I don't know what's going on here, but getting into the lodge is the best way to find out.
By committing vandalism? It was a crime, Steve.
Don't be so melodramatic about it. I've heard of worse fraternity initiations.
Sorry. When you put it that way, I guess I was overreacting. Is it true? You found Karen?
Yeah, just in time, too. He'd molested her and buried her alive. He couldn't bring himself to kill her outright, so he just decided to stick her in the ground and let fate take its course.
Who? Who would do that to a helpless child?
She says it was Mr. Potsdam. And I believe her.
Oh, Christ. And all this time I've been under the same roof with that thing watching me.
Take it easy, okay?
So, at least they'll be coming to take him away, won't they? Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Please excuse the mess. They've done wonders with the upstairs bedroom, but this garage defies color coordination.
So, you have completed your first task. Now that you've scratched the Tucker, you may proceed to your second task. You will steal a bolt of fabric from the fireman and bring it to me. Very well.
No! Leave that there. If any of it turns up missing.
Marv, what's going on in there?
Go! Go! No!
Marv.
Go! Steve, is that you? Come to see your poor old dad?
Are you my father? Really? I don't remember you.
Please. I'm not in the mood for jokes.
I'm serious. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Just don't make me laugh now. Remember the stitches.
My God. What has she done to you?
She doesn't know you're here, does she? Does she?
No, I had to break in. What the hell is going on in here?
I know it's a mystery to you. The sacred things that husbands and wives do behind closed doors. Maybe we should have that special father-son talk. Especially now that you're getting married. Then listen. I can't talk very loud. It's the tracheotomy. When a man and a woman love each other very much, they go into a room alone and shut the door and bolt it with at least 3 locks and prop a chair under the doorknob so no one can get in or out. Then they take off their clothes and get out a wide variety of scalpels. Some curved, some short, all of them sharp. And then the man climbs on the woman. And then they... with the barbed wire, they...
That's all right. Don't get worked up. You need your rest.
Yes, rest. But why did you come? You must have had a reason for risking it.
I need some meat, and Pat won't give me any without your signed permission.
Good old dependable Pat. Here, son. Here's my signature. Take it to him, and you won't have any problem. Now go, son. Go quickly, before she comes back. This is no time to talk gibber.
So, your father okayed the meet, huh? How's he doing? Good, good. Glad to hear it. Here's your meat, son. You run along now. A new shipment of animals has come in, and it's time to start cutting.
Jeez, what are you doing here?
Just standing here, waiting to be drawn.
You just hang out here? All the time?
I'm not a person, Steve. I'm an object. You'd do well to remember that. A person is his job. Someday you'll understand that. And if you don't, it won't matter, because you'll be dead.
Dead?
Have you gotten your lodge application in yet? Good. You may survive yet. I guess you're here to steal the bolt. Not at all. That's not my job. However, since I am an object d'art, and since art should be interpreted, I'll give you a clue as to where the bolt is located. Darkness gives as darkness gets, but light invoked is light shed.
All right.
Welcome to our order.
The hand that grips the life of the stab.
Leave me alone, will ya? This is the good part. Hey, it's too bad they don't give scout badges for digging up buried kids. I like to see what that badge would look like. I went over to ask her what it was like, being buried alive and all. But she just stared at me, and twitched, and drooled. Guess I got my answer. Huh. Good. Finally.
Hello, dear. How are you today? You know those firemen? The funny ones with the color sense? Looks like they misplaced a bolt of expensive fabric. Of course, each one of them suspects the other. Looks like a catfight is brewing. Congratulations, hero. You found Karen after all.
You don't seem proud, Mother. I wonder why.
I warned you not to waste time looking for her.
Am I running out of time?
The blood drive is coming soon.
What does that have to do with anything?
If you haven't joined the lodge by then, you'll find out. Still, I'm glad you found the poor baby. She says Mr. Potsdam was responsible for what happened to her. What a silly little girl. Shame on you! Imagine accusing your future father-in-law of a thing like that. Is that how a range rider would behave? I don't think so.
Why would she lie?
Okay, Weisenheimer, even if he is a child molester, a kidnapper, and an attempted murderer, that's no reflection on what kind of father-in-law he'll be. I just can't wait for the wedding. Can you? Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
There now, see how easy it is? Things are so much better between us when you remember the paper in the morning.
Steve, it's so good to see you again. I get so lonely in here.
I'm sorry. Want to hear what's happening out in the real world?
No. I'd rather forget about Harvest for a while. Come here.
Stephanie?
I feel so close to you, Steve. Like we're the only two people in Harvest. The only two real people. Do you know what I mean? I need to feel something again. This sense I have that I've known you. It's my only link to my past.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different than memory. Maybe we don't remember each other so much as we recall the feelings deep inside. Strong feelings.
Maybe the body has its own memory.
Let's find out.
I want you. Make love to me.
Then take me, now.
Exquisite cloth. Its loss should trigger quite a bit of dissension amongst our gallant firefighters. Still, that is not your concern. Your next assignment is to break into the tonsorial establishment of Mr. Pastorelli and abscond with his prized barber's pole. Lack of respect for authority, a fine trait for a member of the Order. Yes, I approve, Stephen. I hope you succeed in your task. Break into the shop, steal the barber's pole, and bring it back to me. At that point, I shall give you your
Yeah.
Welcome to our order.
The hand that grips life steadily.
Leave me alone. Good.
Hello, dear. How are you today? Did you hear what happened at the barber shop? Someone broke into Pastorelli's salon and took his antique barber's pole. The next morning, Pastorelli touched some live wires that the thief left lying around and was electrocuted. Well, that darn foreigner got what he deserved, if you ask me, coming into a nice little town like Harvest and stealing business. Heavens, if a bowl and scissors were good enough for your father, I don't see why decent working folk need a fancy wop styling their hair. That's how it goes. First you get a sissy trim, then bang, you're a communist. Isn't it exciting, Steve? 5 days and 1,200 cookies later, the bake sale is already here. Where does the time fly?
Those 1,200 cookies. How many are you taking to the sale?
Oh, about 20. The rest were stale. But the effort wasn't wasted. It's for a good cause. Will you be at the school tonight? That's nice, dear. It's good to be open to new experiences.
How exactly is this bake sale supposed to benefit hobos and tramps?
Mr. Moynihan over at the Wayfarer Hotel can tell you more about that. Either way, I think you should be at the school tonight.
What does Moynihan have to do with this bake sale?
He was the one who suggested it.
I thought the lodge was sponsoring it. Is he a member?
No, but he has ties to the order, and he's intimately acquainted with the problem. He not only runs the hotel, he's also the mortician. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy.
What? Oh, it's you, son. I told you not to come in here. It's too risky.
Hey, Steve. You've been doing a swell job putting the paper out in the morning.
And here it is, the object doll, imported Venetian glass and Italian dreams. You have done well. An unfortunate side effect that Pastorelli was electrocuted because you left live wires in a puddle on the floor. But as those with affectations of worldliness say, c'est la vie. Yes, a barber cut down in his prime. Of course, you only wanted the bowl, but that hardly matters now. Your final assignment is to set a fire in DNA's diner and let the French fry where they may. So close, and yet so far. Tonight, the big sale commences. Soon, the annual harvest blood drive will be at hand, when sacrifice will be the order of the day. Your time in harvest grows short. And here's of course, yes, I suggest you succeed. Beyond that, you must find your own answers. Members of the Order must be resourceful and cunning. So must you be to become one with them.
You can't have that, Stephen. I need it for my work. And may I say you're a rude young man for attempting to steal it.
I was only going to borrow it.
Indeed. And have you anything I could hold as security?
Security? Like what? Money?
I'm afraid that's not good enough. I need that glue for my work. You must present me with something significant if you'd have me part with it. Ah, you've taken up photography, I see. Now why on earth would you choose such a grotesque subject?
That John Doe you've got boxed up in the chapel? He didn't just drop dead. Someone helped him take the plunge.
You may be right. I'm a mortician, not a medical examiner.
You don't have to be to know that being ripped to shreds can be detrimental to your health.
This is not something you want to be looking into, young man. Got the goods, have you? You're in harvest, my young friend. Have you tried the road out of town yet? Do so, and you may question exactly who has who.
Look, are you going to tell me what I want to know, or do I go to the sheriff with these pictures?
That would be a grave mistake, I assure you. I've told you all I can. My losses have been substantial of late, so I can't offer you money. The only thing I can give you in exchange for the photographs is my tube of astro glue. I do suggest you take it, or it's all you'll get from me. A wise decision. When a wasp's nest is stirred up, it is seldom the wasps who grieve later.
Hello, Steve. So nice to see you.
Mercy, what a terrible thing to say. Isn't it, ladies?
Yes, terrible.
Buy some cookies? Derelicts and bums who wander into town who don't have enough money for a decent burial.
They deserve to be buried. It's the Christian thing to do.
That's awful nice of you. But why do so many derelicts and bums die in harvest?
Don't be such a wise apple, Steve.
Buy some cookies?
Why, I never! Isn't that right, ladies?
Yes, never.
Buy some cookies? Mercy, what a terrible thing to say. Isn't it, ladies?
Yes, terrible.
Buy some cookies? Derelict.
That's awful nice of you.
Don't be such a...
Ladies, someone has just burned down the TV station.
On the night of our bake sale?
Well, that didn't work.
Welcome to our order.
The hand that grips life is Stephanie.
Hello, dear. How are you today? The nerve of some people burning down the TV station to detract from our bake sale.
I doubt the perpetrator did it just to annoy the Harvest PTA.
Coincidence? I don't think so. Just 6 months ago, the newspaper building went up in smoke. Obviously, there's a firebug on the loose. Either that or a communist. Steve, I'm so scared. Just ask Colonel Monroe at the missile base. He'll tell you. Now that the bake sale's over, I just don't know how I'll fill my time. Oh, I feel so useless. My goodness. What's wrong with her? My goodness. Oh, it's not as bad as it looks. You just pop them back in. See? As good as new. That tarantula she ate must have had wasp eggs in it.
Don't you think we should get her to a doctor?
What for? She's got her mother. How silly I was, feeling useless just because there are no more cookies to bake. I can still rear my brood. This is a sign, Steve. I have a purpose again.
Glad to see you're feeling better.
Mind, that fire still burns my britches. First the newspaper building, then DNA's diner, then WHAR. I sense a pattern. And any pattern I can't make a dress out of is no darn good. I suppose you heard about DNA's diner burning down. Sheriff Dwayne thinks it was a grease fire. We took a black eye on the bake sale, but I'm sure the Harvest PTA annual blood drive will be more successful. Overall, we made about $200, hardly enough to bury a dead horse, and definitely not enough to cover the annual blood drive.
Annual blood drive, huh?
If you knew how much blood we get, you'd be more impressed. Donations are mandatory, Steve. If you're still here come Sunday, you'll be expected to give.
Until it hurts, I suppose.
Until it hurts. Even Hank will have to donate. Of course, lodge members are exempt. Remember that.
Hey, either way, no one's sticking me with the needle.
We don't use needles.
Hank.
Your little brother is homesick from school today, and I won't have you scaring him with this amnesia poop.
Is he really sick?
Look at the show he's watching. Wouldn't you say he's sick? I'd make him stop, but oh, I'm so busy baking cookies for the harvest people.
I don't know.
Honestly, skipping out of a charity affair.
I don't know, damn it! That's what I'm telling you!
Don't you dare use that language around me. You're lucky your father didn't hear you. Or Stephanie, for that matter. How do you think she'd feel knowing her fiancé was a gutter mouth? Don't forget to put the...
Hey, Steve, you...
Say, can you spare a dime for a buckaroo who's down on his luck? The whole shebang just went up in flames, and I'm looking to mosey on to greener pastures, where the sunset's always golden, and there's always another savage to kill.
It's not often that I get visitors.
Are you the wasp woman?
I am Tetsuo Crumb. The ignorant of harvest call me the wasp woman. A pejorative, no doubt, born of fear and a poverty of imagination.
I don't understand.
The politics of honey, the Judeo-Christian rites of sacrifice and conventional taboos against unbridled pleasure are all responsible for the prejudice against wasps. The politics of honey are intertwined with the age-old struggle of the aesthetic versus the commercial. Because I choose to raise wasps instead of bees, I'm frowned upon by the community. Why? Well, raising bees is acceptable because they produce honey. But sometimes it's not what is produced, so much as what is performed.
I don't see any particular use for wasps.
Why must everything have a use? Is money always the determining factor? More slender, more aerodynamic than the bee. Beautiful and juicy. Isn't that enough to compensate for the little drawbacks? Regard the wasp. Wasps produce nothing for others, but only for themselves. Wasps build nests and more wasps, nothing more. They spread into eaves and attics. not to make honey for supermarkets, but to buzz and rustle on their own paper, perpetuating their own agenda, growing stealthily, surely. You should cultivate an appreciation for the grotesque, or you won't go far in this life. Yes, a great deal of pleasure. The wasp is a sensual being, not a laborer, hedonistic instead of industrial. Some think them quick to anger. In truth, they are easily swayed to ecstasy. They penetrate your flesh, and the muscular contractions in their thorax as they pump venom could be likened to the muscular contractions of ejaculation, each painful welt, an act of love. When a bee stings, it rips itself apart and dies for its audacity. This appeals to those raised worshipping a god that demands sacrifice and atonement. But the wasp is promiscuous. They are not as sympathetic to the masses because they don't die when they sting. They live to sting another day, and they take pleasure from it. It's not often that I get visitors.
Are you the wasp woman?
I
don't understand.
The politics of honey. Regard the wasp. You should... Yes, a great deal of each... It's not often that I...
Some rotten son of a bitch scratched my car. My Tucker, my baby, my poor darling, my sweet cheeks. If I find out who did it, I'll kill him. Just kill him dead. I told that fool sheriff to beef up the patrols, but what does he care? Nobody cares about a limp dick fat boy. Well, I'll make them care. I'll make them care. Why couldn't they have scratched the hell out of that rickety fire truck instead of my Tucker? Those firemen are carrying on like the world is ending just because someone stole some of their foo-foo cloth. Someone ought to tell them that the world already ended. I should know. I was there. Good work rescuing Karen. Of course, you queered my play with Edna. But I suppose a little girl's life is more important than my sex life, right? So Pastorelli's barber pole got stolen. Big deal. Now me, I know tragedy. Of course, Pastorelli got electrocuted, but at least his pain is over. DNA's diner burned down. What a shame. Women running things, that's the problem. If she'd had a man around, that fire never would have happened. What a waste. Damn terrible thing, that business with the TV station. I can't sleep now. Keep waking up in a cold sweat. I'm thinking of getting some fireproof aluminum siding for my garage. Think that's a good idea? Bye now.
Did you say hello to your father for me? Thank God.
You know, with a slaughterhouse full of meat in town, what kind of nutcase would steal a barber's pole? Oh well, Pastorelli won't need it where he is. God rest his soul. Those silly willies down at the fire station are just incensed about losing some decorating stuff. Some people. Yeah. Maybe they should be more concerned with fire and less with flame. Harvest will never be the same without DNA's diner. Or without DNA, for that matter.
Why not go upstairs and talk to Stephanie? She'd enjoy the company. And while you're upstairs, feel free to bluff. Sorry, Steve. I'm too upset to talk right now. I can't believe anyone would burn down the TV station the night of the bake sale. I just hope nothing will stop the Harvest blood drive. And I don't think that anything can. I'm not one to gossip, but I'm sure you've heard that DNA's diner burned down. But did you know she killed herself when she found out? Her and her daughter, too. I hear the sheriff suspects the fire was set. If you ask me, whoever burned down the diner is a murderer, just the same as if he'd blown Edna's brains out personally. Thank you for your honesty, Steve. That shows character. Go ahead and help yourself to refreshments while I call the sheriff.
You're gonna turn me in?
Of course, dear. Confessing to a crime shows honesty as well as stupidity. One thing we don't need more of. Hello, Sheriff. Mrs. Potsdam here. Steve took Stephanie's bones. Yes, he's right here. The sheriff says hello, Steve. He'll be coming by to pick you up. Now tell me, Dwayne, how have you been?
Somebody help me! What do you people want from me?
Too late for that, boy. Ain't it, Sergeant?
Indeed it is, Sheriff.
It's
answers may only be found in the lodge, and you must be alive to seek them.
I'm glad to see you. I feel so alone, cooped up in here. I saw the TV station go up from my window. It lighted up the whole town. It looked like hell. I wished it would consume the whole damn place. And me with it.
Don't talk like that.
I'm sorry. I just can't stand it anymore.
I wish there was something I could do.
There he is. Make love to me. Do it to me. Now.
DNA's diner is no more, as is Edna herself. She hung herself as soon as she realized what had happened to her beloved establishment. A true entrepreneur and a credit to her nation. Come now. Anyone who spoke with her for 5 minutes would have known what a tragedy the destruction of her diner would be. Still, you sought to torch her diner, and torched it is. You have proven yourself a worthy candidate for initiation. This was only a trial to determine your worthiness for testing. Your initiation into the mysteries of the harvest will soon begin. In the meantime, be patient. Protocols must be observed before initiation may commence.
How I recognize the sign?
You will know when you receive the invitation. Bring it here, and your initiation shall begin.
Guess I can forget about the meat, huh?
What do you mean?
Your dad must have pulled some strings. Be sure and check Stephanie's pillow, you lucky bum.
What the hell are you talking about?
You'll see once the sheriff gets here. Stephanie. Things will never be the same now. Guess I'll be watching TV nights.
Okay, you can come in now, son.
My God. Is that what I think it is?
Yep, it's a spinal cord.
Is it Stephanie?
I can see a resemblance, but I can't be sure.
More pie, Sheriff?
Pie? Don't you realize what's happened?
Oh, indeed I do. I can just hear the tongues wagging at the PTA. Was it suicide?
Never heard of anyone pulling their own spinal cord out before. Off the record, I'd have to say no. No, all in all, I'd say this was death by natural causes.
Natural causes?
You can't live without a spinal cord, son. Nothing unnatural about that. Think I will have some more pie.
Right away.
I can't believe this. This is horrible.
Believe me, you get to the point to where this is routine. Now, the only clue we got is that card on our pillow. Take a look at it.
This is practically a confession.
Confession to what, son?
Murder. Isn't that what you're here to investigate?
Son, you don't investigate natural deaths. No point.
Then I'll get to the bottom of this myself.
Yeah. I'm sure you will.
More pie, Sheriff?
Don't mind if I do. Can't allow you to take her remains, boy. What kind of sicko are you, anyway? Can't allow you to take a remain.
You received the invitation, but you have not brought it.
I don't understand.
The invitation was not the card, but the spinal cord. It must be presented to me ere I allow you to enter. The mysteries are only disclosed to members of the Order, not initiates. You were provided an invitation. Bring me the skull and spinal cord if you would pass to the world beyond. You have done well. Now let the initiation commence. As your mystagogue, it is requested and required that I turn over this sacred dagger to you to aid you in your quest.
What is this?
You must now enter the lodge. Initiates find it a hostile place.
Are you supposed to help me or get me killed?
I'm starting you on the path of initiation to a very special, very exclusive brotherhood. I am merely the administrator of a test. Whether you view me as an enemy or a friend depends on how well you're prepared to pass.
This thing? You haven't said what it is.
It is a special weapon. Using it will be part of the initiation. You always have a choice, Initiate. Which choices you make matter only to you. Whatever occurs in here is relevant to the great question which you cannot help but answer. What is at issue is whether in answering the question you will find the answers you seek. You will encounter those intent on preventing or prompting your answer, depending on how you look at it. While the assumption is you want to live, dying is easy and provides its own answer, but not for you.
Just tell me, is Stephanie dead or being held within?
The membership director on the second level keeps track of such things.
Oh, great. Then you are against me.
I am the Sergeant at Arms. I am here to ensure that the protocols are observed. Deviation from a protocol shall result in punishment. Remember what I have told you. Now, let the initiation begin.